Castlevania Circle of the Moon for the Game Boy Advance is set in the year 1830 and takes place in a spooky castle in Austria. Oh yes, those famous Austrian vampires. The game tells the story of 3 vampire hunters, the master hunter Maurice Baldwin, his son Hugh, and the game's main character, Nathan Graves. The trio travels to the unnamed castle to stop a woman called Camilla from resurrecting Dracula. What else? But here is a little twist. The game opens with Camilla resurrecting the Dark Lord. The vampire captures Maurice and sends his students into the depths below the castle. Hugh decides to rescue his father on his own and leaves you behind alone on your quest to do the same. And this brings up one of the negative things about the game I have to mention. No, it's not the fact that splitting up while searching a spooky castle is just stupid. But the opening scene shows that the text in the game sometimes is really hard to read due to the background color matching the color of the letters. The text itself also seems to be paced kinda weird. It's not a huge negative, but it's big enough for me to mention it. But back to the game itself. Once you are in control of Nathan, you will learn that the game controls like pretty much all the other handheld Castlevania games. Nathan can traverse the castle by jumping, and he is able to defend himself with the Vampire Killer Whip. But that's not his only mean of defending himself. Enemies do drop bad equipment to boost your stats, and occasionally drop so-called special cards. Using these cards, Nathan is able to get a Flaming Whip ability, a self-heal, and the ability to turn himself into a spooky Skellyman. Of course, those aren't the only abilities you can collect. This mechanic gives the game a more tactical component, which I personally really enjoy. Nathan will make his way through several different areas of the castle. There are the mainstays like the creepy catacombs and the iconic clock tower level. Slowly working his way up to Dracula's chamber, Nathan will also run into Hugh from time to time. He doesn't seem to be a big fan of Nathan and eventually gets his ass kicked to show him who's boss. And he's not the only boss in the game. You will have to put down this doggy. And you will run into this necromancer dude. It's this guy who tells Nathan that Dracula hasn't recovered his full power yet, and to change that, he plans to snack on Maurice's soul. And I don't know about you, but the necromancer gives me serious Grim Reaper vibes. Oh, does that mean that he isn't in the game? No, never mind. That asshole is here too. To unlock Dracula's chamber, you first have to get rid of Camilla. Now that's a nice boss fight.
Nice.
Yeah, I already said that. The big fight against Dracula goes down in his throne room before it shifts to a weird extra dimension. Nathan defeats the Prince of Darkness and escapes the castle with Hugh and Maurice. And since it's tradition with Castlevania games, I guess they victory banked too. Castlevania Circle of the Moon is a neat short game and just the right thing for a road trip. I personally don't understand why it is set in a different timeline. You could easily incorporate the game in the official timeline. For example, we haven't seen what happened to Soleil Belmont after the events of Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. I think that would have worked out pretty well. And I do like that the game is set in Austria. And no, I don't only do so because I'm Austrian myself. But you may didn't know that Bram Stoker wanted his novel to take place in Austria before he decided on Transylvania. I think they kept that in mind while writing the story of this game. Altogether, Circle of the Moon is a pretty standard game without any outstanding achievements or flaws. You don't really have to play it to understand the timeline of the other games, but it would certainly make for a few fun hours. That's why I give Castlevania Circle of the Moon 6 out of 10 Austrian vampires.